morning, Quadcopter 101, and what I got for you today is a review of the Volantex Mini Train Star. Now, what is the Mini Train Star? Well, it is a trainer by its name. You get the word Train Star, you know it's going to be a trainer. But what's special about it is stabilized. 6-axis stabilization. It has gyros for controlling any gyrations it might get from wind buffeting in either this plane or even yaw. And additionally, it has accelerometers to automatically counter any buffets it gets going up or down, forward or back, and right or left. That's called 6 degrees of freedom stabilization. This has it. Up until recently, you know, that was something that would cost quite a bit of dollars if you wanted to incorporate that into an RC airplane. But nowadays, you can get 6-axis stabilization in under $50, and that's the price of this particular airplane. Other than that, let's go over its controller. Okay, this is its controller. What we have is we have yaw control, we have throttle control, and we have pitch control. And although it looks like we may have roll control, we do not have that in this airplane because this is only 3-axis or 3-channel airplane. We got rudder, we got elevator, and we got throttle. So that's the only controls we got, even though there is some play in the controller that suggests we might have roll control. We don't have it. But we do have pitch control, pitch trim control, and yaw trim control, and that's about it, folks. Additionally, on the top of the controller here, we have a switch here, and it's labeled 0, mid, and beginner. And beginner is all the way forward, I believe, and all the way back is expert. And what this means, and in the center here, mid control is medium expert. But what it means is all the way back, like this position here, all the gyros and all the accelerometers are active and stabilizing the aircraft. We put it to mid control, and we just have gyro stabilization. The accelerometers are turned off. And all the way forward, we have expert mode, and there's no stabilization at all. And that you can do rolls and loops and acrobatics all the way forward. So that's it in effect. Let's go into a flight of the Volantex and see how it actually performs. Hope you enjoy this flight. Now, the airplane's power it's powered by a battery, 180 milliampere hour battery. A little skinny thing that you can see right there. Now we plug it in, and actually you've got to turn the transmitter on also, and wait a few seconds for its gyros and accelerometers to stabilize. Then we're going to bind it as we normally would binding a quadcopter. Now, before we take off, we want to verify that the rudder is centered, and I'm looking at it and it's a little bit to the left, so I'm going to trim it a bit, like going like that. And the elevator looks good. Now, testing the control surfaces. There's our elevator and our rudder. And again, that rudder looks a little bit to the left. So give it an even more trim. Okay, let's take off into the air and see how it performs. Hope you enjoy this flight. Well, there it is. Stabilized airplane. It likes to turn to the right, to the left, so I'm going to need to trim it to the right. It's climbing quite a bit. And let's come out of the sun. Now, this is not nearly as stabilized as the F939. Let's see if I can actually get into trouble with it. I'm going to give it a hard turn, and yes, let's pull it out of that. Oh, okay. I was wrong, folks. Stabilizes, well, actually stabilizes all the way toward me. I was flying unstabilized. Okay, now I'm stabilized. Let's bring it down lower. Gliding it. Okay, stabilized flight. Can I get into trouble? Let's bring it toward me. And let's give it a hard rudder to the left. No, it doesn't let you crash. Hard rudder to the right. Give it a more throttle to get it into the air. So yeah, it's definitely stabilized. How about, well, let me loop though. No, it just stalls. It goes up and then it stalls itself. But it doesn't come back down from that stall, so it gives it a nice gentle stall. So the stabilization works again. That's all the way forward. Bring the switch all the way forward. Giving it more throttle, bringing it up a bit. Okay, let's send it up high, folks. I'm pulling back on the stick a bit to get it up high. We're going to glide. Let's see how well it glides. It's climbing, climbing, climbing. Oh, it climbs very, very well. And then cutting off the throttle. Gliding it back down. Oh yeah. Right into the sun. Now you can cut back on that throttle a bit. Let's see if I can give it a little upward trim so it climbs better. There we go. A little bit of upward trim, and now it climbs with just barely any throttle at all. Okay, let's try something now. I'm going to turn off the stabilization. Stabilization back on, and just a little wing over there, and then put it back in the stab again. So you can go up, get yourself some altitude, turn off the stabilization. Let's try that again. Give it throttle, and then turn it back on and come right out of any problems you got. So that stabilization works really well in saving the aircraft. So if you do weird maneuvers like that again, let's do that again and demonstrate it. Going this way, off stabilization, try to crash it, and stabilization back on, and there we go. I'm actually trying to control the rudder, or the ailerons. There is no ailerons. This is a nice little flyer, a nice trainer, folks. Let's go to mid position, see what we got there. We don't have any accelerometer control, but those gyros are still preventing it from doing anything, you know, in extremis. Okay, turning off everything again, going wild. Back to accelerometers again, or gyros again, and it corrects itself. You know, I just noticed, you can put yaw control, or rudder control, aileron control, and it adjusts the rudder to give you that, you know, to simulate having aileron control. So this is actually pretty neat. Even though it doesn't have ailerons, watch, you apply that and look, it simulates turning with ailerons, even though it doesn't have ailerons, folks. So now let's try the rudder only. Rudder only control, and the turn is much more slower. And if we use the aileron control, the turn is much more steeper. So this is pretty darn neat. Very good trainer, I like it. Now it's mainly intended for indoors and low wind days. Today's a low wind day here. So, you know, well, it does have stabilization, but you know, there's going to be a limit to its ability to fly on windy days because it's such a small white aircraft. Keep that in mind, folks, too. But it seems to be flying for quite a good time with that little 180 milliamp hour battery. Flying very well. Just barely doing any inputs on it at all. Just turning with the aileron control, which is actually just turning the rudder to simulate aileron control. Let's see if you use both. Does it increase? No, it doesn't. If I use rudder only, actually this rudder control doesn't seem to be working, folks. So it's the aileron control which is operating the rudder. Turn to the left with the rudder and it's not doing anything. But turning to the left with the aileron control. So it's simulating an aileron, in effect. But again, keep in mind it's turning the rudder. Boy, it's a long flyer. Let's bring it down a little lower here. I'm barely giving it any throttle and it's staying in the air. Let's take it up real high if I can get it to go up real high. Because I want to try a loop. Go up higher, higher, higher. We're going to try a loop, folks. It should be high enough. And ready, set, off. Oh, that's close enough. Getting back on the throttle and bringing it back down. I'm pushing down on the, I want to bring it close. Very easy to fly this thing. A little more throttle. Nice little flyer, the Volantex. Turning it around, bringing it by again. Vroom. So if you're looking for another little trainer, here's a nice trainer for beginner flyers. Very easy to fly, obviously. Turn to the right, little nose up, turn to the left. Let's bring it right back toward us. I'm going right overhead. Going right overhead. So again, this is Volantex V761 Mini Train Star, a little trainer airplane. This would be great indoor gymnasiums or outdoors on low wind days. Easy flyer. I'm getting a kick out of it. A little more throttle here. Maybe that motor's getting a little, that battery might be getting a little weak now. Well, maybe not. When is that little 180 going to die? That flies this thing for a damn long time. A lot longer than the F939 can fly, I'll tell you that. I'm surprised how long that flight time that little battery gives this thing. Wow. My arm's getting tired. Can I fly left-handed? Let's try. I bet you I can. I'm just turning it with my thumb. Flying left-handed now because my arm is getting tired. Holding this up to show you in the camera. Let's do a spiral to the ground. Fun, long-flying little airplane. Yeah, I remember, I guess about 10 years ago, the gyros started hitting big time. Gyro-controlled airplanes, or gyros for your airplanes, but you had to be like a hobbyist to be able to do it. You know, now they're ready to fly, slapped into $50 airplanes, ready to go out of the box. Just charge the batteries and away you go. And anybody can, just about anybody can fly these nowadays. I like this little airplane, how long it can fly. This reminds me of the F949. Unstabilized airplane, the F949. But it flies about as long as this one appears to fly. See how close I can get this into me without getting dizzy. And without hitting me. Cool little airplane. Volantex, you got something here. Little train star. Hopefully we'll be seeing a lot more of these little cheap trainer gyro controlled airplanes in the future, because I think they will be a hit. There's a lot of quadcopter pilots who want to learn to also fly RC airplanes. And this makes it very easy to learn. And just to prove that I can fly unstabilized, let's do that. For those of you going, he's flying the whole flight unstabilized. Okay, this is for you. Maybe I can't. It needs trimmed. Fugoid. Okay, back to stab. I can do it, trust me. It just takes a little practice or a little bit of trimming up of this airplane. Wow. Well, I'm going to start walking back over this way because I got other things to fly and do. I'm just surprised how long this flies. I hope I have enough battery power to do the other reviews I wanted to do today, because this one is a long flying airplane. Amazingly long flying airplane. That's a 180 milliampere hour battery. I just can't believe it can fly it this long. Tiny little battery. Geez, you put a 300 in there, you'll be flying for hours. Dang. How could it possibly fly this long on that little tiny battery? I know you're probably getting bored, folks, but I wanted to show you how long it'll fly. It certainly can fly for quite a long time. Okay, notice I got the rudder. That's because of the way I got the thing trimmed up when I was trying to fly it manually. Let's do that again. There, center trim. No hands, folks. Bring it back to me. No hands, rest of my right arm here. Let's try that right trim button a bit. Back to me. So easy to fly. Turn it to the left. Turn it to the right. Not doing anything to fly it. It's just flying. A lot of people like that, being able to do that, just do nothing. Okay, that motor sounds like it's getting a little weak. I'll give it a little more throttle, see if there's actually any more. No, it's getting tired. Let's land it. I don't want to burn out the battery. Well, there we go. That is approximately the flight time of this little Volantex trainer. Cool little airplane. I really like it. It flies for an exceptionally long time, and it's very easy to fly, folks. Again, the control is mainly through simulated, what do you call it, ailerons and throttle and pitch. Those are the three controls you got on it. And also, real quick, before we shut down here, notice when I go like this, how the elevator automatically goes down and the elevator automatically goes up to try to counter the effects. And also notice how the accelerometers are flipping this rudder around. So, in my jittery hands after having 3 cups of coffee this morning. So, hope you enjoyed this flight. This is Quadcopter 101, again with the mini train stars, signing out.